Good evening, YouTube. Bill number 3 down here in the Carolinas. What we got up on the bench today is the second of 2 amps. This is a 2x8 now. It was just an 8 peel. And when it came in, the heat sink in it, so you can see where I can show it. You can't really see it. It's got 2 heat sinks now. The heat sink in it was sitting this way. These holes was open. These holes was open. The heat sink was sitting in it this way, so the air couldn't move through it. And the way the air does is, of course, it's got a top on it with your fans in it. It pressurizes the case and it blows on here, wraps around, goes through the heat sinks, and exits out the back. Well, it's got 2 of them in it now. It's got this heat sink in here, this heat sink in here, and this heat sink over here was the original one going all the way across. So I had to pull the board up, take everything out of it, and get this heat sink out of it and turn it back this way. And I had to order a new heat sink that way. I actually should have drilled the holes for the extra peels over there, but I don't know if it's going. I think it's got this box for sale anyways. But it had a air gap in between the 2 heat sinks, and I put a piece of heat sink there to keep the board from coming through, and I drilled a little hole for the wire coming up through here. And it had a piece of the aluminum clad wire. It had a piece here. It exit the box over there and come out. And of course the ground lead, it had a ground lead. So I put number 8s in it. And now they exit the back to a nice grommet. And I shouldn't have no trouble with that. And I had to retune it. The inputs was different. It's 270 here, 270 there, but this one was like 240, and this one was like 250. Need to be 270, and the output. One of these was 120 something, and this one was 147, so I made both of them 150s. And I had to put the 2 peel driver in it. It was only an 8 peel, so I put the 2 peel driver in it. So I had to come off, come to the input of the 2 peel, make the 2 peel, come off the output, go into the input combiner, and it only had a piece of wire from here to here. Not the right induction. So I wound up a wire and put an inductor in there. It didn't have a resistor here, nor a resistor there. And so the output inductor was about right. It was just a little off, but I went on, since I made one for this side, I went on and made one for that side. And stuck that in there. This one looks a whole lot better than it did. And yes, this is a 10 amp relay, but he ain't looking to completely rebuild it. And like I said, I pulled everything up, and I think I've done a pretty good job. I didn't have to drill the holes, so the wires would tuck down and come up out the back. And pretty much just added the 2 peel section and retuned it and done a little rework to it. But this is what she's going to be doing now. This is the amp is off. This is the feed through, talk through watts on it. Yellow 11111111111. Barely moves. This is my brand new. Well, he said it was brand new, but it had a variable power in it, but it wasn't done the right way. So when I put a variable power in it, but she does about 5 or 6 bird. Does about 20 peak. Pretty much just like this one here. But this one, I don't know why it kept going out and kept acting funny. I'm going to have to send that to Rainmaker, get him to look at it. But anyways, this one here, like he ain't got enough radios to work on. But this one here, I'm happy with it. It's doing what it's supposed to do. But anyways, I'm going to get back to this. Turn the amp on. This is the reflect watts going back towards the radio. Audio, hello. Now this is just a radio driving, but it has a 2-pill in it. This is on a dummy load. Audio, hello. Audio. I see it hit. She'll hit 700 bird. I've seen a little bit better ones, but this is doing pretty good. Which I do have the cables run through, and since these won't fit into my little connector there, you're gonna have some loss. I've been seeing a lot of loss, even though this has got a piece of number 8 gauge wire run through here. And I keep saying I'm going to do it. I'm going to run a piece of number 8 gauge down to here, another piece of 8 gauge down to here, or something other. But I may just get new clamps. I don't know. I'd like to get some new clamps. Some it was covered all the way to the end. But we have got some loss through that. It's getting 15 volts here. Actually 14.9, and by the time it gets over here to the box, it's like 14.1. But if you measure it back here at the actual connector, when the amp is keyed, it's still about 14.7. So just through this cable loss, which it would be more if all these, it would be better if all these was connected, but like I said, you can't get them in there. You can, but it don't make a good connection to the 2. So we got 2 loose. But that ought to be sufficient enough to carry this just for a test. But anyways, that's what it's doing on the, let me show it again. 5-watt slug going back towards radio. Hello, barely moving. Hello, audio. Like I said, that is a very weak little radio. It's stopped. That's like what I like to tune with. I got the better radio there, the Rainmaker tuned Cobra 29. She does real good. Does real good. I think about 14 bird, 13, 14 bird. Last time I checked it, and that is on the radio. Is on 14.6 volts. But anyways, we'll pull this out, 1000-watt slug, put in a 2500 watt slug, because I know people don't pretty much rely on that multiplier, even though this is the peak kit from the guy in Florida. Turn the peak kit on. Audio. Oh, doing about 1700. Let's say 1600, it don't matter. Audio. That's 1700. And like I said, that is with a little bit of droppage in volts because of the wire. But you got a 50 amp connector, or let's see, what does it say on it? 175 amp. Yeah, 175 amp connector on it. And the ground wire on it was a good wire. It's up here. Gotta pull it down. I don't want to mess up everything up there, the junk. But anyways, and then it had a, that is real copper, but the other wire had from here going out, snaking out through there, was old cheap wire. Let me get it here. It made it to the floor, but you can definitely tell this ain't real copper wire. Even though it kind of looks like it on that end where it's cut, but it ain't, because it's just too light. It just ain't got no weight to it. You can definitely tell this is a number 4. And if you take a number 8 gauge wire and cut the same length and put up a weigh it, the number 8's gonna way on to outweigh this thing. It just don't. Like I said, it was just one wire. Now it's 4 number 8s coming down through a real good number 8 wires that a good friend of mine got for me. And he's a real good friend. He don't want no acknowledgement. Don't know why. Randy's just that good of a guy. That's a whole nother story. I wish I could get in and talk more about him, but he's kind of a modest guy. But I think she's doing pretty good. Pretty good little amp. Don't look the best you've ever seen. Like I said, and I don't know why the guy put the heatsink in it that way, because surely if he could build this amp, I'm not saying it's the best of builds, but it's not the worst I've seen either. I've seen some bad ones. Some guys that supposedly know what they're doing. Not any of the ones I talk to, but some guys out there say they know what they're doing, but they I've seen some of them come in here with some heatsink in it wrong. And that's one thing you gotta have right. Like I said, I have got a block of plate in between them, so all the air goes through has got to go through both of them and exit out the back. And the heat sinks come back to about here, and they're pretty good and sufficient enough. They're not cheap, but they're in there, and that's what the customer wanted, and that's what he's got. So look, yeah, y'all have a good day. Be number 3 down here in the Carolinas, doing the best we can. Later.